Welcome into Jets Nation Radio. I'm Angus Hout, joined by Ray Howe today. It is the start of the regular season. Well, at least the Jets season. So make sure you get yourself over to Betway if you're out in Ontario. Get your bets done on the Jets. If you want to bet on them to win the Stanley Cup, I believe the odds were plus 5,000 as of this morning. So Betway is the place to go if you're out in Ontario. 19 plus, and please play responsibly. Ray, how are you doing on this fine October day?
It's pretty good. It's always good when it's a Jets game day. So it's going to be nice to actually have some regular season hockey and see how it goes.
Yeah. Oh man, I'm so excited because I don't know where you were on Monday when you got the news that Mark Scheifele and Connor Hellebuyck signed identical deals with the Winnipeg Jets, which will most likely keep them here in Winnipeg, hopefully for life.
Yeah, I think it's really nice to see that commitment from those players, especially when there's been all those rumors. Like literally, as soon as the playoffs ended, it was like, okay, both Scheifele and Hellebuyck won out, and it's just talking about the inevitable. Like we just had the Dubois saga, and then it looked like a whole another saga was starting, and that book really closed quickly. So it's really great to see that commitment.
Uh, okay, I don't know if this was just a me thing, but when I got the first word from NHL Breakers on Instagram, I thought it was a joke signing. I'm like, wow, what a weird joke on Thanksgiving Monday. But and then I went on with my day for 15 minutes. I had like three people text me like, Angus, it happened, it happened. I was like, oh, it is real. So I don't know if you were like, how thrown off were you by this signing?
I was completely thrown off. Like I don't think anyone was really expecting the even before the season to have both of them sign. Like it really was out of left field where we were kind of preparing for the season, preparing for what could be a make or break season with them being in the last year of their contracts, and then boom, you just get it on a Thanksgiving Monday that both of them are staying for another 7 years, identical contracts, and it's just amazing to see.
Yeah, absolutely. So do you think that these signings are actually best for the Jets long term? Like 7 years is a long time for guys that are already 30.
Yeah, like I don't think the contracts themselves are the greatest, but I think them just signing them was the right move because just signing them shows that there's players that are star players in the league that want to come to Winnipeg, stay in Winnipeg, and having that commitment from those players who have been cornerstones of your franchise up until this point, I think really shows that to the league that Winnipeg isn't a city that people don't want to play in. Like you see Kyle Connor, you see Morrissey, and now with Hellebuyck and Scheifele, that they're wanting to stay long term and win with this team. And I think that speaks volumes around the league.
Oh, absolutely. I think I see, a guy like Connor Hellebuyck who said, "Hey, I just want to win a Stanley Cup, sign long term here in Winnipeg," and they might see that as a excuse to come up to Manitoba's capital city. Uh, should the contracts have been different though? Like, would you have made any changes like term or money wise?
I'd probably try to change the term so they end a little bit sooner, maybe only like a 6 or 5 year extension because paying them until they're 38, $8.5 million. I know the salary isn't exactly the same in every year, but the cap hit overall is the 8.5, and the 8.5 for a 38-year-old Mark Scheifele and Connor Hellebuyck just doesn't sound like the greatest at the end of the day, but I guess that's just kind of where the league is going, where these players are getting into their early 30s and wanting to cash in. And it's not the first time, and it won't be the last time that a player gets signed for too long for a cap hit that won't represent how good they would be at that age.
Yeah, but I think both of them have earned that
Yeah.
contract by the end of it. Like, yeah, by the time we get to 2000, what is that, like 32? Holy smokes. That's a long time. But by the time we get to that point, what's the cap going to be at? Is it going to be
Yeah.
$120 million per year? And I mean, like Connor Hellebuyck, that dude should like on money that he should earn is like closer to $10 million. But whatever. We'll save money where we can save money. Um, how do you grade these contracts though?
I'd give them a solid B to B plus. Like I wouldn't say they're perfect deals just because they are 31 years old. They're going to be 38 at the end. It's kind of like a riskier deal, especially when you're getting older. You have risk of injury. So I wouldn't say it's a perfect deal, but just the term of them signing them was the right move, and I'd give that a B to B plus.
B to B plus. I like that so much. I mean, personally, I'm gonna give the Scheifele deal like an A minus B plus, but the Connor Hellebuyck is a little bit closer to a B minus, just because goalies, you don't know when they're going to lose it altogether. And I think that Connor Hellebuyck, playing as much as he's played it with as many grade A chances that he has seen in the last couple of years, I'm a little bit worried about years 4 to 8 with that contract, but what can you do? I mean, the guy's going to get paid. Good for him.
Yeah.
Do you think that either of these guys are going to get traded like within the next couple of years? Because the absolute mouth breathers over at Spit and the Chicklets were like, well, now you can trade Mark Scheifele because he's on a good deal.
Yeah, I don't think that they're going to trade them. Like, they have no move clauses in effect, like not even no trade clause, like no move clauses. So, and getting into the years when they do have the trade protection and the no move falls off, it's like they're all going to be Jets until they're like 35, 36. And at that point, like, sure, they could be traded for some value, but they're not going to have, saying that the value of them at that age is going to be the same now is kind of ridiculous. So I think that they signed these contracts to end as a Jet.
Nice. Oh, so you're thinking we're gonna see Mark Scheifele, Hellebuyck both retire as Winnipeg
Yeah,
Jets?
for sure.
Well, get me excited for that. And then what? The same night we get to see 37 and 55 go up into the rafters too.
Yeah, probably.
Probably. You're damn right. We're going to see those two go up together. Did you ever kind of put those guys in like the same category that they would, just ultimately sign together?
I didn't think so. I thought they had kind of different plans for success and what they wanted. Like they both kind of seemed that they weren't super interested. They didn't rule out anything, but they, again, like their players are kind of a little secretive in that way where they don't really show a lot of what they truly are feeling and the actual discussions that they're having. So I kind of thought that there's no way that they're kind of thinking the same wavelength on that, on staying for the same amount of term, same cap hits. So seeing that at the end of the day was kind of more the biggest surprise, that they both signed at the same time, same cap hit and everything included.
Yeah. So like how much does this change the direction of the team moving forward? Because I mean, your guy, Thomas Milic, who looks like he's going to be a stud in the NHL, now he's got to sit behind Connor Hellebuyck. And then we also have Dom DiVincentis, who also has that same hurdle to jump, because eventually you're going to have to jump over Connor Hellebuyck.
Yeah, and I think that they wouldn't sign these contracts without thinking of the future as well. And I think it just shows that they really trust Connor Hellebuyck and want to win. And I feel like they had that desire to win more than looking towards the future on who their future goalie would be, because they're looking into the future and saying Connor Hellebuyck is the future to our goaltending. It's not Dom, it's not Milic, it's Hellebuyck. So I think it really shows that these goalies in the system, whether it's Milic, Dom, or even Salmonen, these goalies in the system, they have to really give it their all to even show to make NHL minutes. And then if they force their way onto an NHL roster, kind of auditioning, if at that point, if they were to be traded as trade bait to bring in forward or a defense help at that point, or just getting them to the roster. But I think it's going to be interesting to see, even just like 5 years into the future, what the goaltending for the Jets will be.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The years 4 to 6, I think, are going to be the most interesting when it comes to the Jets goaltending in general. What are the odds that the Jets win a cup with those two as like your cornerstones?
I'd give it maybe probably like a 20% chance. Like, I don't want to say that they're gonna be like 50% or more, like they're gonna win the cup guaranteed, but like, because there's a lot of good teams in the NHL, and it shows that it's hard to win in this league. But having them for that many years, staying with that core, I think that the core is good enough to win a Stanley Cup. It's just bringing in the complementary pieces around them. And I think that's how it will change with these signings, is that some of the prospects and futures may be more up for trade now to bring in immediate help so that they can have a better chance at winning that Stanley Cup.
And this is something that I've had on my mind since I kind of had a moment to digest this news, but Do you think that this is just Kevin Cheveldayoff playing it safe because then he doesn't have to make a hard decision to move on from one of those guys and might end up hurting the Jets, forcing both of these guys to stick around?
I think he's kind of playing it safe in a way where he's signing them. He's not worrying about what they would be worth if they get injured, anything like that. But I think the one thing with Cheveldayoff is like he signed them for a reason. He wants to win. The team wants to win, and having those players gives you a chance to win. So not figuring out how they would win, trading them and figuring out the pieces coming back because trading them away, like, are you going to get a better player than Mark Scheifele or Connor Hellebuyck in that trade? Probably not. So it's kind of a way where he plays it on the safe side, keeping them, but he's also being smart in the way where he's not leaving it up for what if they traded him, what if they didn't rebuild right. He's kind of playing it safe, but it's a good way of playing safe to stay competitive.
See, and I think that this is the move that's going to define his career here in Winnipeg, Cheveldayoff's career here in Winnipeg. This is either going to be the thing that blows up in his face and we see him leave Winnipeg unceremoniously, or he looks like the smartest man on earth signing both Connor and Scheifele. Like this is Cheveldayoff's day or time to shine anyways. Huh. Rip through the Hellebuyck stuff real fast here. Look at us go. Yeah, you feel good about this though. This isn't a mistake. This is a good move for this
Yeah,
year.
like it was when heard the news, like I got excited obviously because they're two cornerstone pieces, but you're always gonna think about like the what if, like again, like the Jets were our first round exit the past couple of years. You kind of think maybe they should make a change, maybe make a retool where they traded away Scheifele or Hellebuyck to bring in some NHL help and some futures. But I think that it shows that having trust in these players, even though they may not have had the full success that they were thought to be able to bring, that he's putting trust in this team. He's putting trust into Morrissey, into Lowry. He's putting trust into this whole team, this whole core. And I don't think that just this contract is him believing in Scheifele and Hellebuyck. It's him believing in the core that he built.
Ooh, that's interesting. That's interesting indeed. Yeah, see, and I just look at this as like Cheveldayoff playing it as safe as possible so he can remain consistently almost in the playoffs, whether the Jets make it or not, back and forth every year. I think this is punishing the Jets to be an average team for the next 5 years. I think that's genuinely where the Jets are going to be, an average team.
Yeah.
So,
And one thing with that is like if you're trading away Scheifele and in Hellebuyck, you kind of have to think about how the dominoes might fall too. If you're trading away Hellebuyck and Scheifele, what is the next domino? Ehlers, then is it Connor? And then you kind of have those dominoes that could fall rapidly. And then and with rebuilds, like you've seen Buffalo not be able to make the playoffs for some years now, and same with Arizona. Like there's teams that go into rebuilds and you think that, oh, it'll only take a couple years to retool. We have NHL pieces, we have some good prospects, but that's putting a lot of trust into the prospects to be able to make an impact and replace those players. And sometimes it doesn't always work out. There's busts, there's players that like Lafreniere where you get a first overall pick and he's not looking like a first overall pick anymore. So I think it's playing it safe too, where you're not leaving anything up to risk on how long a rebuild or retool would be and how long it would be to be competitive again.
how do you manage to take all of my fears and just blow them away, Ray? I'm feeling confident again about this Jets team. Ridiculous. Actually, how many games do you think Connor Hellebuyck does play this season, though? What is your number?
Yeah, so I think he played 64 games last year, if I'm correct on that.
Yes.
I would say anywhere from 55 to 60. Like they're still going to want to play Hellebuyck because he's a difference maker on the team. But I think that having Brossoit over someone like Rittich is an upgrade, and they're going to want to have Brossoit play more games than what Rittich did, just to give Hellebuyck that rest to be able to be his 100% at all times. So I'd say anywhere like even somewhere like 50 to 60 games. Like he's going to be in that range. It really depends on how, if any injuries occur, and if Brossoit is playing really good, I think that Brossoit can eat up more games than what I'm saying. But I'd say if I had to give an exact number, like 57 games for Hellebuyck.
57. See, and I'm in that 52 to 54 range. I think 54 is going to be his number this year. I think that LB is going to eat up a lot of games because we can actually trust him on a regular basis. Hopefully, anyways. I mean, the dude was perfect last year in the regular season. Looked pretty all right in the playoffs there. Man, it is the first game of hockey tonight. I assume you're pretty darn excited. Minus the 10 o'clock start for you, you poor soul. Are you staying up for the whole thing?
Probably. I'm not gonna stay up for every single Jets game, but it's the first regular season game. I think it's almost like a must watch just to see how it goes.
Yeah, absolutely. I know I'm going to be rocking the pregame nap tonight. What do you want to see from the Jets early on this season?
I really want to see that chemistry, like the chemistry and like the speed that they're able to use, because in the preseason games, we've seen that, like, again, like that Velarde pass on the power play. Like, I think that's exactly the type of plays we need to see, those types of ambition to make plays and to use their speed. And it's going to be interesting to see because the last couple preseason games haven't really gone into the Jets' favor. And it's gonna be really nice to see how a regular season game affects how they play.
Oh, he's going to be huge. I mean, like, even you look at that Ottawa game, and if you watched Mark Scheifele, like, I was at that game and I watched him like a hawk, and he was playing like ass. And I was like, man, if this is the Mark Scheifele we get this year, we might be lucky to get a second round pick. But I think he had the that contract on his mind. He was a little bit worried about it. So I think we're going to see a great season out of Mark Scheifele. I think I really, I mean, obviously you want to see wins early on, give yourself a bit of a padding. So that way, if you tank in the back half of the year, you don't have to worry as much. But no, I'm really excited to see what the new guys can do. Rasmus Kapari is the guy that I didn't know who he was before the season. And just from his preseason games, that's the guy I'm most excited to see what he can do. And I genuinely believe that he's going to overtake Adam Lowry for the third line center role. I know the bottom six doesn't matter which line is rolling, but it does matter a little bit. Daily face-off, they know what they're doing. So that's where I'm at. I can't wait to see Rasmus Kapari. And Vlad Nemestikov, also a great guy to watch. That's a jersey I legitimately want. Like, that guy has the IQ of I don't know who, but he's so smart. I love to see what he can do. Now I'm just getting excited about all the individual players. Are you comfortable with Nate Schmidt hopping, like, without Heinola there?
Yeah,
it is what it is.
It is what it is, and like, again, like, it'd be nice to see Chisholm get a game, or even Stanley, just to see, just because those players, like, again, like, as much as Nate Schmidt is a great player and a great locker room presence, like, again, Schmidt is a player that provides a lot to younger players. And we saw this last year at Sandberg, and now it looks like he's going to be playing with Dylan. So I'm not sure how that pairing's going to work, but it's going to be interesting to see. But if I wouldn't be surprised if we see Chisholm or Stanley get some games in early and then kind of rock with whatever player is playing the best out of those three.
Do you think Capobianco is going to get out of the Moose and rejoin the Jets?
I want to say yes, but like, then that means one of Stanley or Chisholm is on waivers. So Capobianco already cleared waivers, so you don't need to worry about him. But if you're calling him up, then you're risking losing another one of your defensemen.
See, now that's not the news I want. Killing me here, eh? Okay, well, let's get into our predictions for the upcoming week. We got the Flames, we got the Panthers, and potentially the LA Kings before we talk next. What is the Jets record going into that?
I'm gonna say I'm gonna play it a little bit safer and not have the full optimism. I'm gonna go 1-1-1.
Ooh. Who are we looking at the win for?
I think we beat the Panthers, we lose in overtime to the Flames, and then lose to the Kings.
You know what? Screw the Flames. They can lose heavily tonight. See, I'm going with a 2-0-1 record to start off the season here. I think that they are going to take an overtime loss to Paul Maurice and the Panthers, but 2 wins over the Flames and the Kings. I think it's totally doable. You look at you like a lot about the LA Kings, but you look at the goaltending back there. What is it? Cam Talbot and David Rittich. Like, yikes. Or is there another guy in LA that I'm
Yeah,
forgetting
there's
about?
Phoenix Copley there as
There
well.
we go. I mean, Phoenix Copley, he had a good couple of games, did he not?
Yeah, he had a pretty good year last year as well. He kind of took over for Jonathan Quick.
Yeah. Either way, I don't believe in the LA Kings because I think they're a bunch of phonies, except for Drew Doughty, who's going to play till he's 130.
It's gonna be his Dubois' revenge game though.
Yeah, someone's going to go beat him up or run him into the
Mhm.
boards. I think that they're like, I don't know the guy personally, and I don't know how good of friends he was with everyone on that team, but I'm sure there's someone who just like, that guy was a French fuck, and I'm going to just run him through the boards. So obviously the Western Canadian feelings towards the French are still alive and well in me. You know what? This is a question I'm throwing at you last minute here. But if you were to take away the or the Seattle Kraken and the Vegas Golden Knights, and you could add one player from either one of those, from both of those teams, who would you take?
From those teams specifically.
Yeah, just because they're the expansion teams. Let's pretend we live in a world where they don't exist anymore.
So from Seattle, it's hard not to say Manny Beniers just because of how good and young he is. So I will say Manny Beniers just because he also is a center. And from Vegas, I think I would add Alex Pietrangelo.
Ooh, I like that. Personally, I'm taking Jordan Eberle just because I was a big fan of his back in the day. I have no shame about the or do oh no, I want Adam Larson. That's who I'm taking
Yeah.
from Seattle. That dude is a perfect shutdown defenseman. He'd work well in Winnipeg. And Jack Eichel, just because I want to see an absolute trio of terror being Mark Scheifele, Eichel, and Perfetti running down the center.
Yeah, that's a pretty good one as well.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with any of those picks. So yeah, I'm going Larson and Eichel, even though I don't like Eichel at all. Ray, thank you so much for hopping on today. Fantastic. Have fun at hockey tonight.
Yeah.
And we'll talk to you again next week. Go Jets, go. Have a good one,
Yeah,
buddy.
go just go.
And make sure to check out Betway and follow us on our socials. What are you, Ray.how? Ask us
Yeah.
questions. Ray is fantastic at writing questions. Basically, I send him the questions, he fixes them up, and then we talk about them from there. So, Ray, you're a fantastic beauty. Thank you for the Blake Wheeler jersey, by the way. I didn't wear it today. I feel like a rookie, but I look good in that thing. So,
Yeah, no worries.
you have a great week. And yeah, like I said, we'll talk to you again next week. And peace and grace. Go Jets, go.
Go just go.